Our state is in a real mess. We have to live within our means. Don't shrink because you got a few little taxes. You know, suck it in. Yeah. Everybody's got to give a little. We want to raise everybody's taxes.
This is John and Ken's Tax Revolt 2012.
I'm tired of hell, but I'm not going to take this anymore.
John and Ken Show. John Cobell and Ken Shampoo, Tax Revolt 2012. How about that? We're ready to go.
Complete with the suck it in.
Suck it in.
That's Jerry Brown. He doesn't give a damn if you're having trouble making ends meet and you have to pay more taxes.
Suck it in.
Your money is his money, and he wants to suck it in.
It's official. That's why we've unveiled Tax Revolt 2012. Not only has Jerry Brown's tax increase qualified for the ballot, once again, that raises the sales tax on each and every one of you when you buy things in California, but it also raises the income tax on what they call the upper income earners, more than $250K a year. And by the way, that climbs as high as 13%. There is no other state anywhere near that level of income tax rates. 13.1%?
No.
It's outrageous.
Incredibly high tax rates in just about every category in this state. And they want $7 billion more a year, and they're increasing spending by $7 billion as well. They're not cutting spending in next year's budget. They're increasing it by $7 billion. Understand that. You are going to read so many news stories about cut.
Cut.
The net is a $7 billion increase in spending. Documented, absolutely true, confirmed it the other day when we had John Kupal on from the Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association. It matches the tax increase, dollar for dollar. $7 billion increased in spending, $7 billion increase in taxes. You see or hear if you see or hear this described in any other way, you call them on it. You see it on television, you see it in the newspaper, you call on the writer, you call on the reporter, you call and you say, wait a second, got your facts wrong. You're lying to us. It's a $7 billion increase in spending. Stop with your cut nonsense.
The taxes are now supposed to generate $8.5 billion for the current budget cycle.
Wow, look at that. It's gone up just in the last few minutes.
So it'll more than pay for the $7 billion in increased spending. But what's the point of that? We still have a long-term deficit problem. It's supposed to be $16 billion. Meanwhile, Molly Munger's measure also qualified. According to the Secretary of State's office, that would raise income taxes on really all of you. It's a sliding scale. If you make less than $7,316 a year in taxable income, all right, and you're a single filer, your taxes won't go up. It's about $14,000 for joint filers. That's why I said probably most of our KFI listeners are going to be affected by this one. $10 billion a year. Molly Munger is supposed to take in.
And she's a strange wealthy woman.
She's a civil rights lawyer.
Yeah, and she's got this obsession.
But she's the daughter of Charles Munger.
She's got this, who's a Warren Buffett
partner.
Yeah. She's got a bizarro obsession in raising everybody's income taxes. I'm sure she's known in her circles. I'd never heard of her, but she got millions of dollars raised for this wacky across-the-board income tax increase, which even Jerry Brown didn't want on the ballot. Mostly because it interferes with his tax increase. And her money is going in different places than Jerry Brown's money. Jerry Brown's money, much of the education money, is going to pad the pension fund. It's not going to your kid's classroom.
Right.
I mean, we're going to break down the details between now and the first week of November constantly, so you understand this. And you must spread the word, too. Let's not just live inside our bubble here.
There is actually a third tax measure on the ballot, but it affects corporations. It's going to change the state's corporate tax formula. It's going to change the way companies calculate their liability based on their share of sales in California. Complicated to explain, but this is supposed to generate $1 billion extra dollars. And wouldn't you know it, that hedge fund manager, Tom Steyer, is the one that funded the signature collecting for this ballot initiative. So if all three pass, that really can't happen. I think with the income tax vote, if Jerry Brown's gets more votes, it would win out over Molly Munger's.
I wouldn't take any chances.
But you're looking at like $19 billion. If
I wouldn't take any chances that they won't slip in some kind of law at the last minute that says if both tax measures pass, both of them win.
His is the only one that affects sales taxes, so that'd be easy, but it would be the income tax thing. They have to figure out.
Don't trust this. You just vote no on anything. Don't pick one over the other. Don't say, I like this tax. Don't do that.
And that's our hope, that when people see, and we'll even make it more confusing and say that there's three tax measures on the ballot, because that's not inaccurate.
No, it's true. There are.
They're not individual income tax measures, but there are 3 tax measures.
Look,
between Jerry Brown, Molly Munger, and Tom Steyer.
If there is a corporate tax increase on the ballot and it wins and it costs corporations $1 billion extra, that will be passed on to you.
Absolutely.
In the real world, it all comes down to money coming out of your wallet to feed what? To feed the state worker pensions?
Suck it in!
Yeah, suck it in, Jerry Brown.
What's the matter with you? Don't you know California's economy generates trillions? Why can't I have more of that?
Suck it in.
Thank you. Meanwhile, this is bizarre, there's a press release from a state senator by the name of Joel Anderson. He is a Republican. But he wanted us to know, and I think it's a good press release, that apparently Univision, don't ask me how or why, got an interview with a spokeshole for Controller John Chung. And you know what the spokeshole, whose name is Alex Barrios, said?
What?
This budget is out of whack by $2.5 billion. The budget that they just passed. Of course, it's irrelevant this year because a judge ruled, unlike a year ago. Remember? Let's go back a year. John Chung was going to dock their pay.
That's right. And
because their budget was phony.
They found out that the provision that allowed him to dock the pay did not give him the true legal power to do so.
That's what the judge said.
In fact, it turns out that no one in state government can dock the legislators' pay, that they can pass a fake budget. Everyone can agree it's a fake budget. And even though you agreed to a proposition that would dock their pay, can't. No one has the legal authority. They snowed you. They fooled you. Again, we told you to vote no on this proposition. All it did was it cut the Republicans out of the debate because it allowed for a simple majority to pass a budget instead of a 2/3.
Yeah, I mean, it was Prop 25 that I'm sure some people in the audience voted for it because the commercials looked good that their pay was going to be docked. But in the end, the ruling was only they can judge whether or not their own budget is balanced. How crazy is that?
You don't read these initiatives. You don't read these referendums. You don't know about all the poison pill language inside that neuters these. So the difference between what they advertise and what the referendum actually does are 2 entirely different matters. And they snowed you because they have the money and you are gullible and you are lazy. You're gullible and lazy and you believe radio and TV commercials. Don't do that. At least not the political ones.
And from the amusing file, George Skelton, who writes for the Los Angeles Times, the Capital Journal, who's been covering Sacramento for 50 years, right? 50
years. I think 1962, yeah.
He actually wrote a column today wondering, really, that's the title, where is the Democrats' urgency on pension reform? I mean, he's
what an idiot.
He's pondering. Why aren't they getting going on this? And he says now they're going to go on recess July 3rd for a month, so we won't see anything on the pensions until August. Because they're controlled by the public employee unions?
George Skelton, you bonehead, you know why. You've lived there for 50 years. What's wrong with you? Why do you ask this question? It's not a question. There's no reason to ask. The unions have absolute power over these issues. None of the legislators do, and the governor doesn't. At least they're unwilling. They're unwilling to challenge the unions on this issue. So you know the answer. Don't write any more columns on it. Don't bore us. It's a settled issue. They're not changing anything. Unless the voters stage some kind of voting revolt against these bastards, nothing will change. Stop wasting our time with your stupid columns.
It was believed that they would do something, even if it's phony.
I didn't believe that.
Well, hold on. On pensions, in order to make people vote for the taxes in November. Trying to say, look, we're making them suffer too, and now you got to suffer. Shared sacrifice.
And they're not.
They were going to play that baloney card.
No, they want nothing changed. They don't want to give up a penny. Not going to happen until the voters revolt. And the voters are not revolting enough.
Oh, they're not?
No, they're not.
And by the way, when it comes to pension reform in Sacramento, they're only talking about new hires anyway. We still have that tsunami from all the people that are going to reap the benefits of the 1999 budget deal. So
bankruptcy will settle this matter.
Ultimately, you're right.
Ultimately, you silly, greedy state workers, you're not getting your money. We're going bankrupt. We're going Greece. It's not going to happen. If you're planning for this big fat retirement for the next 30 years, forget about it. It's not going to occur. And you're going to be stamping your feet and whining and screaming.
You did it to me again. I got a top 40 song. Greece is the word.
Greece
is the word.
California's going Greece.
We're going Greece.
Well, you said that. It made me think that's perfect little music.
That's right.
Greece is the word.
Greece is the word.
All right. When we come back, the Associated Press has done an update on a great story that we talked about a couple of weeks ago about that phony, this tells you a lot about politicians, that phony 9/11 scholarship fund people were able to purchase special license plates, and the money was supposed to go to a scholarship fund for the families of those who were killed in the 9/11 attacks that had roots here in California. Well, we'll give you that update when we come back, and again, it just tells you a lot about the politicians behind it.
Thieves. John and Ken, KFI, AM 640, more stimulating talk radio.